ईश्वर है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
प्रेम ईश्वर है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
हर धड़कन में साई समा है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
हर धड़कन में साई समा है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
हर धड़कन में साई समा है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
हर धड़कन में साई समा है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
प्रेम ईश्वर है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
प्रेम ईश्वर है, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
राम रहीम कृष्ण करी,
राम रहीम कृष्ण करी।
बोलो राम रहीम कृष्ण करी।
राम रहीम कृष्ण करी।
महाराष्ट्र पेशु नानक,
के सोना
महाराष्ट्र पेशु नानक।
के सोना
कोई भी नाम जपो रे मनवा, ईश्वर प्रेम है मनवा।
राम जपो रे मनवा, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
मनवा कोई भी नाम जपो रे मनवा, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
कोई भी नाम जपो रे मनवा, ईश्वर प्रेम है।
All right, brothers and sisters, now it is 10:33. So we start with Onkar and Sai Shwarai 9 times for the well-being of the planet and everyone. And then we move on. Om. Om. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi
याद सूरज
Sairam, brother Bindu.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear you last.
Yeah, Sairam, brothers and sisters, I think somewhere the mic automatically got muted. So, a warm welcome again to a beautiful Sunday satsang where we come together to share his journey, different devotees through different devotees, how Swami has manifested his presence, his leelas, and get inspired, get connected, share the energies, move on with this life where while the chaos surrounds the outer world, there is complete silence that we want to tap in the inner world. We had started last week, and today, as I have shared, we will have a brother Satya, one of us great silent soldiers who has been such an epitome of seva, selfless service, and we'll have him sharing. It was so nice of him to have accepted this in a short notice, and I'm sure we all will benefit from his talks. Let's move on with the topic that we started, brothers and sisters. It was Navada Bhakti that we started with. And like every bi-weekly satsang, this is one of the Sai vaccines that we want to take, right? So that we remain immune to all the Arishad Vargas that is surrounding us. Now, Bhagavan says, I have not come here to disturb or destroy any faith, but to confirm everyone in their own faith so that a Muslim becomes a better Muslim. A Christian becomes a better Christian. A Buddhist becomes a better Buddhist, and a Hindu becomes a better Hindu. That's the crux of it. So what it says when we come and join in this satsang, or when we listen to Radio Sai, when we listen to Swami's messages, his divine discourses, we try to become a better. I think again it got. So we try to become a better version of ourselves since the last time that we try to do a self-audit. So it's very important in this journey that of the satsang that we keep auditing ourselves, checking ourselves, benchmarking ourselves, and knowing where we have gone and where we have to go. Brothers and sisters, it's about also purification of the thought, word, and deed, the Trikarna Shuddhi. We have to be very, very conscious about these three elements that we have, that they are in sync and they are with purity, right? So satsang brings us an awareness to align our thought, word, and deed in him, and also we stay tuned to the inner Sai so that we remain immune against all the chaos that is happening around us. Moving on with this today's session, brothers and sisters, it's important to understand that we have to have a right priorities in life. Bhagavan said, what is joy mean? What does joy mean? J-O-Y is Jesus first, others next, and why last, right? Jesus first. In this world, we have prioritized very wrongly, or maybe due to the engagement that we have, the attachments that we have, so we have to reprioritize. So these sessions help us to recalibrate ourselves and put the Sai first, right? So that once we do this reprioritization, that is, Sai becomes the most important part, God becomes the most important part in our lives, as it happened in the cases of Prahalada, as it happened in the cases of, Bharata, when the kingdom was being given, he said, no, Brahma is going to rule, and he took his khadao and he put it on there. And as it happened in the cases of Meera. And this is so important. Bhagavan says that with this friendship of God, if anything comes in between you and God, forsake him. There is a text out there which got hidden, but the meaning of this is that we must understand that there has to be undiluted bond between the I and the Sai, and that's an important thing. And who can be a better companion once we have Sai on board with us? I think there is some disturbance with the. And can we have one of the muted for now? That. Let me just check. Yeah, it's better now. Thanks. Let's move on. So this was the Navada Bhakti, 9 forms of devotion, as was relayed by Lord Rama to Sabari. Now, Again, Sabri, you can see what love and compassion she had when she was getting married that night. She saw a goat is going to be sacrificed and she didn't want to be a party of it. She didn't want to be a party of a marriage which involves killing and sacrifices like this of the other beings. And she ran away. She ran away. And then eventually Matang Rishi allowed her to stay in the ashram and then told her that out of your devotion and love that I see, Lord Rama will come and bless you. And it waited. Perseverance is one of the most important things, brothers and sisters, in spirituality. Perseverance along with faith. We have to be steadfast, and that's what Sabri teaches us. Shraddha and Saburi, she had faith and she had perseverance. She waited and waited when finally Lord Rama came. So, and then Lord Rama revealed the 9 forms of devotion, that one of the forms that can be adapted, and we are expounding a little more with our limited understanding how Swami has, inspired us into this particular 9 forms of devotion. So let's move on with this journey. Let's first understand what Swami says in this beautiful Padyam. What does devotion do to us? Let's see. It's translated and you have the subtitles there. Just as the reflection is on, does not stick to the just as lotus leaves do not get wet by the water. The reflection is not stuck on the mirror. The lotus leaves are not wet by the water. Sins will not stick to the person similarly as sins will not stick to the person.
Bhakti valana అంటవు మానవుని భక్తి వలన
So great assurance by Bhagwan that those who are into the path want to establish the link through devotion to Bhagwan. Again, devotion is not emotion, that's a different topic in itself. But when we are talking and trying to understand the 9 forms of devotion, it's very important to understand how Bhagwan relates to devotion to. What does he tell about bhakti, which in Hindi is translated to bhakti? Bhagwan says, bhakti is not to be calculated on the basis of the institutions one has started, or help the temples one has built or renovated, the donations one has given away, nor does it depend on number of times one has written the name of the Lord on the time energy one has spent in the workshop of the Lord. These are not vital. Now look at this and let's go within and understand this. Bhakti is prema, unsullied by any tinge of desire for the benefit that flows from it, or the fruit or the consequence of the love. It is the love that knows no particular reason for manifestation. It is the nature of the love for the soul, over soul, the river for the sea, the creeper for the tree, and the star for the sky, the spring for the cliff. It is sweet in bad times as well as in good times. It's not like a pepper or salt which savor your dishes. Again, he's talking about bhakti is perseverance, it's continuous, it's steadfast, unending. And then he goes on to say, it's the very bread and butter, the essential substance itself. It is not the pickle which only lends a twang to the tongue and helps you to consume a little more of food. It is unchanging attitude, a desirable bent of mind, standing steady through grief and joy. For the Ananda comes through Atmajnana, the Bhakta is a true witness. It's so important to understand what does devotion actually imply to. And when brothers and sisters, by any of these forms of devotion, or whenever we feel connected, truly within us, the spring of joy comes from within. What does bhakti relate to? When bhakti enters the food, it becomes prasadam. When bhakti enters hunger, it becomes a fast. When we do it, When we do a fast mechanically, it is just a fast. But when bhakti enters, the total, samarpan enters in that fasting, it becomes a fast. It's no more a hunger. When bhakti enters water, it becomes charanamrit. When bhakti enters travel, it becomes a pilgrimage. When bhakti enters music, it becomes a kirtanam. When bhakti enters house, the house becomes a temple. When bhakti enters action, it becomes service, brothers and sisters. And when bhakti enters humans become God. Bhakt aur Bhagwan ek ho jate hain. It's very important for us to understand that when you are finding this kind of, symptom, that means we are in touch with the divine. We have actually established that cord, the umbilical cord which got severed in the birth time. When we got into this world of Maya, that subtle unseen umbilical cord with the God got severed, and somehow bhakti tries to restore it by any one of these 9 forms of devotion that we are going to talk about. Now, we spoke about the 9 forms of devotion. Let's first start with Shravanam. Shravanam is listening, correct? That what we are doing, and when we listen to Swami's discourses or beautiful sharing sessions by so many in the Samarpan series, or whatever which allows you to connect to the super soul, that is Shravanam. Now, what is Shravanam? Bhagavan says listening to the divine name, his divine form, his qualities, his action, mysteries, getting lost in the glorious Leela is called Shravanam. And there is a beautiful historical example from where we got the Bhagavatam. Raja Parikshit, when he was bitten by the snake, again, when he went for water, he was moving around the jungles, he got thirsty, he wanted water. So he stood in near the hermitage where Shringi Rishi was doing a tapas. And there was no response from the Rishi for the water that he wanted, and he was quite hungry. So what he did out of his, despair, he put a deck snake around the Shringi Rishi. And then when the son of Shringi Rishi came back, they were all playing around and he saw this. And his friends told him they saw this Raja going there. He knew it was Raja Parikshit and he cursed him. Of course, Shringi Rishi, when he came back to himself, he was admonishing his son a lot. But then that curse was given that within 7 days, the one that you have done, you'll be bitten by a snake. And that's how it goes. I will not go into deep. But then these 7 days, brothers and sisters, we also have come with a return ticket. We all know that we are going to leave, right? We spoke about in few sessions art of leaving. It's very important for us to understand, program, schedule, and make a complete plan consciously on how we are going to use these 7 days, which was in case of Parikshit. But we know there are some moments, some months, some years, we don't know. Have we tried to establish this understanding that we behave, we conduct, we think, we be in such a way so that when the time comes, we are able to absolutely remember him at the time of departure. And as Lord Krishna says, one who remembers me at the time of the departure, he merges in me. Brothers and sisters, this is what Parikshit did. He used his time gloriously listening to the Lord Mahimas, because he knew I have no time. Whereas we are all lost thinking that we have abundant time to connect to Lord when needed. So it's very important. Shravanam plays a very, very important role. The years are given for Shravanam, for listening to the glories of God, listening to good things, listening not to think which is Rajasic, which is going to incite us, provoke us, but listening to the things which are going to calm us down, right? And then Bhagavan says the first among the 9 forms of devotion is Shravana, hearing the voice of Lord, hearing about God. These are important events in life. Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita. Then he goes to say, Parikshit heard the Bhagavata. Both were liberated from bondage thereby. Look at the power of listening, brothers and sisters. The Shabda, the Pranava are all important keys to bliss. The Vedas are to be heard and recited. Again, when the Vedas came in, it came in the sound, in the form of the sound, right? Shravanam, it was like an Akashvani, right? And that is where Bhagavan says, Bhagavad Shravana leads to Bhagwan Smarana. That means when you listen, you get that kick and you want to know more. You want to pine more. You want to, get into that ecstasy. And that quest, once it triggers, Bhagavan says it leads to detachment from the ties of the objective world. So it's very important to understand Shravanam, I would say, has got a lot of importance in our lives, because we keep listening to a lot of these things which impact us. and it goes in any sphere of life, right? So I'll talk a little more on that. Now it has got three important parts of Shravanam, how we can make it more effective or truly, result oriented. One is to listen with focus and not just hear. Sometimes we just hear. We are in the session, whether we were, as young students in the classrooms or in the colleges, or whenever we are in some of the corporate meetings, we just hear, but we don't listen. So there has to be focus and attentiveness so that whatever is being said or heard goes into our being. The second way, effective way for Shravanam is to listen with faith. We should have faith when we are listening to these discourses, to these satsang. It's important that the faith component is there. We're not playing a devil's advocate, but we are surrendered and we know that this is going to change and transform our lives. And last but not the least is listen with pining, with yearning. Very, very important is yearning, brothers and sisters. Now in 2007, there was a drama in Puttaparthi where science students were performing a drama on Mirabai, right? And there was a student who played the role of the Mirabai, and there was a song which was being played, I don't remember the song, but the starting was Krishna, Krishna and all that. So when it started with that pining, Krishna, 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 and the drama was on, there were still a lot of scenes to go on. Swami was fixed onto this particular character, who was playing Mirabai. At the moment the cry goes out, Krishna, Krishna, Swami intervened in the drama and said, Mira, come, Mira. And then he created this golden chain. And that's what the photo says. The pining was so deep in the voice. Pining is so important in Shravanam, brothers and sisters, that Swami stopped the drama, gave the chain. Now, when he gave the chain or when he gives the chain, whether he chains the devotee or the devotee chains the Lord, in either ways, both are bound to each other forever. Brothers and sisters, these are symbolic. This must be understood. When you get a ring, it is to bring you closer. The ring is to, make the ring, the telephone ring that you say, it is to ring the Lord's name into your being all the time. It's very important, brothers. Pining has a very important role in Shravanam. And Shravanam must be done with these kind of scenarios that you spoke. There are different modes how we listen, brother, how we are sitting in the bhajans. One is like, are we sitting like a dosa pan which is hot, correct? Which is absolutely hot, and anything you put just evaporates. Are we sitting in the bhajans or the satsang with lot of stress, lot of things in our mind, which is like hot dosa pan, anything which is being spoken is just evaporating? Are we sitting it like a dew drop on a leaf? When your dew drops, it stays on the leaf for a while till there is a breeze, and then the dew drop falls down. Brothers and sisters, just like a bhajans, we come out, it's like a dewdrop. We felt happy for 45 minutes. But the moment we get into this world, somebody charges more, a taxi charges more, or you go home and your mate doesn't listen to you, that dewdrop like a breeze just falls down. Or are we listening or Shravanam like an oyster, like a pearl in the oyster, a raindrop which goes into this oyster, as Sri Ramakrishna Paramahans said, when star Swati is at its ascendant, a raindrop which falls into the oyster over a period of time turns into a pearl. Brothers and sisters, how we are listening, how we are sitting and absorbing is absolutely important for the result that we are looking for, to transform us to become a better version of ourselves. Right? So Shravanam is extremely important. These are few important facets of Shravanam. And then it should lead us not only to Shravanam. Shravanam leads to Mananam and then Nidhi Dhyasanam. Let's see what Swami spoke about this with respect to Shravanam. Now, before I go into this, another important thing which I read today about, pining. When you are sitting there listening, ki main apni Prabhu ki leela sun raha, I'm listening to his glory, I'm so connected. That pining connects you. That pining brings him majboor. He makes God helpless. Dasanudas, he brings God down. Now, this is again a 2007 story where this brother was singing a song in Swami's presence in Kodaikanal. Okay, Brother Kostub, you might have all heard about it. Brother Shastri knows because he has been a student there in Swami's institutions. He was singing and Swami told him to sing the Meera Bhajan. And again, he started, there's a different episode to the other one that I spoke. He started with Krishna with a deep pining, and then he opened his eyes. He saw Swami is gazing at him. The tears started rolling into this brother's And as he went on with the bhajan, tears were rolling. He saw, again when he opened, he saw Swami's eyes are also tears coming down. Now imagine the North Pole and South Pole of the magnet, they both attract each other. It happened so that the pining does not end with the devotee, it also ended with the Lord. Lord also pines for a devotee and devotee pines for the Lord. It's a complete reciprocal relationship. Together they flow. And when this happened, Swami eventually came and wiped his tears. And not only Swami told one of the elders there in that room that go and get me a golden watch. I have to give to this boy, otherwise he will not stop crying. Once I give the golden watch, he will stop crying. So golden watch was brought, given to this boy. But look at the significance, and I'll connect to what the message Swami beautifully gave in this. Then the golden watch was brought, brothers and sisters, and it was given to him. He immediately stopped crying. You know, he was so happy Swami responded and all that. But look at the message when they recollected, went back and thought about it. What a message it was given. We all get these golden watches, brothers and sisters, when we are worried with our personal life, with wealth, with the daughter's marriage, somebody's marriage, we pine very intensely because that is the only time we try to connect. And possibly by his grace, he rewards us with a golden watch, with a response that we are looking for. But brothers and sisters, what happens after that is once we get that, we stop pining. Correct? This incident and reflection of this incident tells we stop pining because that's the end. We got it. And that is where it tells us a reminder that we should never be satisfied by all these reciprocations that the Lord gives, that without you, I don't want anything. This brother Vinod Karthik, you know, who Swami's student, he started an orphanage in Bangalore. Few years back, I had shared. He got a job. He didn't want to come out of Parthi. He used to call Swami Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Always Krishna. He didn't want to come out of Parthi, but Swami one time told him, you go and join that. So out of his reluctance, he went to join that place, thinking that how will I avoid this joining? So he said, okay, let me quote the salary that the person is asking me, what do you want? As astronomical figure. He quoted astronomical figure, few zeros. But you know, the CEO of that company, he says, okay, never mind. I accept this and I will double it in 6 months. Now he had nothing. But he still didn't want to go. He's an IITN, gold medal. He's Swami's management, gold medal. What a Bangaru Swami has created. He came back and somewhere or other, anyway, I'll get to a different time that part. My point to this is he didn't settle for anything else except Sai and love. Now he's running an orphanage by Swami's grace. There's been a lot of challenges, but the way he has done it by Swami has helped him. So very often, brothers and sisters, we end up asking for a gift, not a giver. Asking for a creation, not the creator. Asking for the grass and not the grace. You have to be very clear on what we want to ask. Never mind, we have worldly issues that connected. That's fine. That should be immaterial. The devotion link should be irrespective of what's going around us. Once we get that, fine, it is good. That has resolved it. But are we still connected and pining? And that is what matters. So Shravanam has got a very, very important aspect of not to hear, but to listen, to pine, to persevere, right? It's very important how we sit and how we listen. So Mananam, Shravanam leads to, Bhagavan says in this, there are 3 methods learning: Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasam. Truly what you have listened to cannot be easily grasped and assimilated just by listening. He's saying you cannot just listen and finish and end up. Then he says you have to do some manana or think. It's the churning now starts, you know, when you want to get a butter, like God is there everywhere but can't be seen. Butter is there in milk, can't be seen. We have to churn to see that, right? So the churning has to start, and that churning is manana. Over and over again, absorb it. And then we have to put it in practice, which is nididhyasana. If you do all the 3 only, then you can enjoy the fruits, what you have listened to in Shravanam. Will your hunger be relieved? Bhagavan says, like, you know, we go to a restaurant, just by looking at the menu, can we be satisfied? No, we got to order, we got to eat, chew, assimilate, and digest, brothers and sisters. Same way, Bhagavan says, even if you just eat what has been cooked, will you be able to derive necessary strength? Only if you digest the food you have eaten, can you do it. As is essential process to get ultimate results, so Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasam, which is extremely important. So these are important facets of Shravanam, brothers and sisters. We cannot end up only listening. Listening with full rapture and concentration is important, and then chewing it, as you know, thinking about it, churning it, and then putting into practice. That's important, as is this. particular place where Bhagwan says, remember that Bhagavad Gita, Bible, Quran, Granth Sahib and other holy scriptures are not entered for parayana. That means only recitation. He says they are meant for acharana. It is not a sign of bhakti to memorize the 700 verses of Gita or give learned commentaries thereon. It's only a proof of ostentation. And he says, even if you practice one teaching of mine, we will be redeemed. Brothers, sisters, we have to look, are we so spiritually incapable or disabled that we can't put one teaching of Bhagwan, love all, serve all? We may not love all, at least not hate all. That should be our starting point somewhere to think. So that is how Shravanam brought redemption to Parikshit, to Arjuna, and to so many devotees that we see who keep listening to Swami's. I also shared with you in Middle East, there was a harmonium player who was playing harmonium and, doing the bhajans. And then while doing the bhajan, people thought that he's going to give the next key. And he had fell down on the harmonium. He had left that time, merged in Swami. These are important aspects of the 9 forms of devotion. If we start with Shravanam, we must look into this application of Shravanam, right, to get the right benefits. And we are into 11 o'clock. I think I'll maybe possibly stop here as we had planned for Brother Satya. Let me welcome Brother Satya, whom we all have worked some way or the other, interacted with him in this journey in Singapore when all the Sai activities. He's a tireless and silent Swami's Sevadal who inspires many of us. In fact, yesterday also we were doing this 5 continuous Saturdays of Puratasi, cooking and all, where I have the fortune of being with him, and we can see the inspiration that he carries, the aura that he carries. So with this, I would like to welcome Brother Satya to come on, and we'll carry the other forms of devotion in the subsequent weeks as we go along. So it's very important to get Brother Satya, who has been, I'm sure, in one of the 9 forms of devotion, Pada Sevanam, doing Seva everywhere and anywhere. Brother Satya, can you please put your video on and come on? We are all waiting to hear Swami's, sharing as you have experienced. You are muted, brother. You are muted. Yes.
Yeah. Humble pranams at our lotus feet of our loving Lord. So, dear brothers and sisters, it's been a pleasure to see all, but of course for the last 1.5 years, we have never met a lot of people in person. Right. That is always, we've been missing it. I do not know how often or how long we are going to do that. But this is the platform Brother Nija has created, and then it's good for everyone to have some sharing with all of us. Okay, just want to share a couple of things. I've just introduced myself, how I came into the Sai fold and my journey with the Sai from along with until now. Typically, my family was typical Vaishnavites, Orthodox Vaishnavites. My grandfather's parents and all those people, they will never even go into a Shiva temple to worship, or from outside of the temple, even though there was some Vishnu, Lord Vishnu and Narayana inside, they will never even go inside because it means for them they are worshipping the whole everyone. But they are still very spiritual in those days. The prayers itself will consist of 1 hour every day. In fact, when we go and then we want to get the blessings of them, when we kneel down, I have to be there for 7 minutes. Yes, they will sing the song. I think some of you would have heard about it. One of the 12 Alvars who came in to propagate Vishnu throughout the South India. One of them was a Namarvar who created the song Pallandu Pallandu Palan Palagodi Noorairam. That means they will sing the song that you have to live with the spiritual wealthiness, pure health, and all these things. It consists of 7 minutes, the song. So they will not allow me to get up also. So you have to stay there, kneeling down all the while until they complete it. In fact, if you go into that way, when I go to visit another relative, they also will do the same thing. So it will be for 6-7 people you visit one day during any of the functions or any of the events, it has every people will do that. So that type of typical Vaishnavites, and then when they are at home, it is that they will just chant this Nalayara Divya Prabandham, which was also consisted of only by the Vishnu Vaishnavites who have created that. They will just keep on chanting that. Doesn't matter who comes, goes. He never, my grandfather even bother who is comes, goes, on all these things. So that type of things happened. That was the spiritual connection that had been from throughout the entire family. One exception was my father, who was after graduation, he went to join Indian Army in 1965. He was posted as Pune. So he was there serving as an army for 2-3 years. When he came back, my grandparents didn't allow him to go back since he was only grandchild for the whole of the family. They asked him to stay back. And he stayed back, and then he resigned, left his job, and then he joined one of the public sector undertaking. As some of you might have known, is the Neyveli Lignite Corporation, one of the leading power industrial sector. So he joined in 1967. So one of his superior, he just is told about Swami, and then he he brought few of them in the Parthi to 1968, early part of 1968. So ever since he went there, he became a devotee of Sai. And then eventually when he got married, after that, my mother also became that. And I traditionally it become along the way we have been following in the Swami's fold. In fact, my first, or we can say, experience with the Lord was when I was born in 1969. My mother, my grandfather, or everyone will tell me I was born prematurely, 8 months or before 8 months. So I was in one of the Shiva's place of Chidambaram, one of the famous for Lord Shiva. So my father was working for 50 kilometers away, so he doesn't know this. But eventually he was also inside the Swami's fold and all these things. He happened to be in one of his friend's house, a devotee's house. There was a Swami's nectar or honey coming from Swami's picture. So everyone got it and he also took it. The moment he knows that I was born, he came back. So the first thing I tested was the honey. He just left it on my. That was the one I tested it. It was in 1969, 1 or 2 days after my birth. So eventually that is the connection that started from there and it continues. And hope this is what my journey started. So after that, we were just involved only in Sai activities. Only temple, only wherever I go, even though there was other places, but we always devoted only with the Sai activities. Any functions, Ganesh Chaturthi or Krishna Jayanti, Gokulashtami, all these things will be celebrated. The things I was born from Balavikas started at the age what we have currently, we call it as SSC. So that is what we have been doing that from the beginning. So it all happened in early 70s and all these things. My father, at the time, the affordability was not there, and also the time to travel from there to Parthi takes around nearly 1.5 days to just one-way travel. You need to travel by bus, train, and then bullock carts and walk for a while. So my second one was, I think is in the early 70s, 72, 73. Maybe I'm 4 to 5 years before I go into the school. That's what I started. I still remember sitting in the current Sai Kulwantal. At that time, it was open space, only sand, mud. Swami will be there. At around 4:30 will be the darshan will start. Early, very 5 o'clock, holding a piece of chalkboard and chalk, waiting for Swami to write the Om. That is at those times the first what do you call when you want to study what you want Swami to, yes, right. So maybe I do not know how many days I waited, but eventually he came, and then one day he just wrote it at the slate on the chalkboard. So that was the one that was my direct first interaction, seeing Swami at the very first time. So I kept it for quite long, but of course it cannot be there for so long. So that was my first meeting of Swami. That was very short while, because at the time the crowd will not be much, but Swami will be coming anytime. There is no time for darshan. He will come, he will go, he will come and eat the food what we have it. But other no sheds and nothing, shelter. We used to stay below the trees with all this makeshift arrangement, all those things. So that was the very first beginning of my Parthi visit, and it was I think in the 70, 73, 74, something like that. And after that, slowly, not many opportunity to go to Parthi, and all the activities of in the Balavikas at the time, the studies and Balavikas, this is what it is. So whatever it is all in the Sai organization and Sai activity. And in 1982, Swami used to go to Kodaikanal, Chennai, and during the month of January, sometimes he used to visit Sundaram, and also for this Shankaranti, he will be there in somewhere in this area. So in one such instance was in 1982. So he came to Chennai, and there was a private function. Was the state president? I think currently some of you would have heard about speech. Dr. It is not a doctor, Mr. T.G. Krishnamurthy. He was having had a private function, and he invited Swami to attend that. It was around 200 kilometers away of Chennai. It is nearer to my hometown. It is Neyveli. So he visited that space, and since it is a private function, and some of them asked the Swami, "Can we have a public darshan in this place?" Initially, he said no. No, we don't want that because there's a disturbance for a lot of people. There is no proper place and all these things. But eventually, the government, or the management has undertaken to give a huge stadium. It's an open stadium, similar to our Hillview Stadium, what we have. It was not even inaugurated. They arranged everything and then allowed the permission for Swami to have a public darshan. And during those times, getting people or inviting people to come to a different parts of South the district and all those things, all they have to come on their own. People didn't. There was not that publicity exercise was not that much, right? And Swami agreed for this. And along the way, only he has to pass to a center. Nowadays, those days we call it as a Samiti. And then he said, okay, he will come into the Samiti also. All these things, they keeps changing. So when he consent to have a small visit there, then okay, it can't be very simple, right? When Swami is allowed, is coming there, it has to be something. We have to make it the event memorable. So they asked all our Balavika students, and then whoever can't go to that huge area where the crowd will be massive, is only dedicated for this group of people. And in that period, then what to do? Either have a bhajans or do something. But Swami has said, he say he will not come. He cannot stay too long because the program was programmed only for 45 minutes for the entire program, and he has another visit at Salem along the way at 5:30 or 6 p.m. So when we decided to have that, what to do? Then okay, simple. They said leave it for this known bhajans. Just have some exhibitions of Swami's pictures, done art or photos, collections done by the students. We will just display it there. And then ask Swami to be there for a while. Then if he leaves, then it goes to the public area. That is another 5 kilometers away from the area. So on the eve of he came on 22nd January 1982. On the eve of that, there were some changes in the program, so they want to do other things also, bhajans. And after final discussion, they said, okay, let us not have it. Let's have some arati if Swami accepts it. Now the question came, who has to do the arati? Then, okay, they said, since it is a program for children, let the children take. Then, okay, after long deliberation, 3 people were shortlisted. And now, I was one among them. Another 2 of my friends, all of students, right? So we said we are pushing to each other urge to take. No one want to take just because we fear, and then there is something like that which we will have a fear that we will make some mistakes or what will happen, and that's anxious. All these things happen. We are pushing in each other, but no one want to take. One of the uncles, who was Dr. Balasubramaniam, who Swami has entrusted him to, also one of the person to entrusted him to build a super specialty hospital in Bangalore. And he was also coordinating the whole program. And he came and then he just asked one simple question to all three of us. If you answer these questions, then I will make a decision who will do the Arati. He just asked one simple question. What will you do while you're performing the Arati if Swami is just moving away from that? What will you do? Because nobody was in the position to answer. Everyone want to skip to other person. Right? Nobody answered. We just keep quiet. He waited for a few minutes, then he left for other thing. He said, okay, I'll come back after 10 minutes. He came back after 20 minutes, no answer from us. But someone had to say something, right? Then I said, no, I will stop. I just said, I will stop. Okay, then you are the one who are going to do the Arati. I said, it's not the right, because we know what we have to do it. But at that time, he said, okay, then you decided I have to do the Arati. Nervousness become more for me. It was around 8 or 9 p.m. on the eve. And the next day evening around 3 o'clock, Swami used to come to the center and the decorations and all the things are in full swing. There's only dedicated group of people who have been doing that. And the day come, Swami is supposed to come at 3:30. He came at 2:30, even more nervous. the began, 2:30, everyone was started running it here and there. Then nobody don't know what to do, but the program is all there. But the few people who has to be there were not there. Lucky the Veda team, the Purna Kumbam, when Swami comes in, which traditionally we used to have, this group of people, they were all prepared there. The police was not there, so the crowd became massive. The small area, the crowd became very massive. So Swami came, he just came, both sides of the around 50 to 100 children were sitting there. Swami went into the hall, did all the exhibits. He was just admiring, speaking to the children who were standing there. And then came at the end, he said he completed everything. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes he was there. And he said, when you want to leave, then I think one of those seniors she is one of those divine souls. Swami has given her is a state level Balavikas convener, Srimati Leelamma. The Shirdi temple, which has been there in Gindi in Chennai, she was the one who was managing it until her last day. So she was there and she used to, she was holding me all along. She said, you have to be there, don't go anywhere else. And she asked Swami, there is a Arati. Okay, come. It's okay, what do I want to do? Okay, just go into the stage. Swami said, you want to sit? It's okay, you take. Then only the start. I become more nervous. And when the moment I started when the Maharati was sang by our children, all chorus singing for all the Balavika students there. I was doing the Arati, one round, 2 round, never look at the Swami, only remembered that the last day, the previous day, what came into my mind, stop Arati. So not to stop Arati, even Swami is walking along, leaving the place, just to remember that. So my focus was there not to stop the Arati, not the Arati to fall down. I become because a public function. Suddenly Swami materialized Vibhuti. It's only very beginning itself. Maybe very first stanza we completed. Swami materialized holding in my hands. None of them have, nobody want to touch or say something to Swami. Arati is going on. Swami is holding the Vibhuti in his hands. So now what to do? I remembered not to stop Arati. Swami holding the Vibhuti, and then nobody was to guide anything. Everyone do not know what to do at that point of time. And Swami quickly said, just took a little bit and then put it on my forehead. And then I just continue with the Arati. And suddenly the coordinator, she grabbed the Arati from me and I was holding my hand to Swami. And Swami again placed the Vibhuti on my hand and then blessed it. And all the people completed. And then I just only started the Arati completed by other people. Right? This was the one that in 1982, Swami, that is the second instance. I just came into the 1982. And ever since then, we have only Balavikas and activities. The service activities are very less on those times. Not much. It's only very, very little. and only the spiritual activities, whatever the functions and all those things. Yes, there was a 960th birthday. We adopted villages. Swami's instruction to adopt villages wherever possible. So we adopted a few villages. Only thing what we do, camps, or medical camps or some Narayana Seva. That's what we started to use. So cooking food from that. So it's just part of it from the beginning. Along the way, continue. There was because at that time when you complete the Balavikas, there is a pre-Sevadal. There was the steps inside. When you complete pre-Sevadal, then you become like a Sevadal, active Sevadal. There is a maturity level it carries depending on the age. So the one was instant in pre-Sevadal. There was a conference in Parthi. So we all went there. So at a group of 20 people went there. And one, two, second day or third day, I think it was also mentioned in Satyam Sundaram. I'm not so sure on that. It was a devastating rain and then thunderstorm in the evening. It was I had never seen that after that before. And the whole, because it was all makeshift tentages. So many people from all parts of the team came. There's no accommodation. All stayed in the tentages, and food all will be in the tentage. Will be come to the places. All like all rices. All will be served at that place. It was evening around 6 or 5:30 to 6. Devastating thunderstorm. Everything, all the tentage, all flown off. In fact, I still remember a few of us are holding one of the poles of the tentage, make sure that it doesn't fall, because where we are standing there, nothing, because we all are nothing to that.
Which year was this, brother?
I think is in 80, if I'm not wrong, in 86 or something like that,
Okay.
or in 84, 85, something is something like that. And after that, some of us ran here and there. We could not find a lot of people there. It was no power, nothing. Somehow it was, everybody was wet. Do not know where our clothing are. Don't know where all our things are. All like the swept away from different places. And eventually managed to find a lot of people and gathered there. Then finally what happened is Swami called a lot of people and then asked them to supply food to everybody, serve food for all those people, asked them to assemble at some point there. I remember some of them were assembled at the Sarvada must to be there, and then some at different places where they can locate it. And immediately next day, what he said, he called everyone in the Purnachandra hall. We were all the people within ours called into the Purnachandra hall. You know, the hall is can take a capacity of around 8,000 to 7,000, 8,000 people. Almost is full packed. Next day morning, I think it's 8 or 9 a.m. Swami came literally to all those people. Everyone was seated in the rows. Swami came from each one of the individual. Not a single person was left, including the gurus and then the teachers, whoever is there. He came walking all along, distributing clothes, distributing a picture, distributing vibhuti, and asked everyone to take Pada Namaskar. He walked literally to everyone. It took maybe more than 1.5 hours for him to complete the whole stretch of the group of 6,000, 7,000 people. And then he said, don't worry, everything will be taken care. Your food, your accommodation, your whatever you send, everything, Swami will take care of it. And then he just left this place. I mean, what else we want? I mean, we suffered on that day, and the next day, everything is disappeared. Everything disappeared the next day. I mean, that night, yes, we could not, we were eager to find the people who are missing here and there, running for the help and all this. We could not believe that. The next day, everything disappeared. The moment we saw, we have this, all vanished. So this was the thing that it always keeps inspiring. Whenever we have something, some dullness or laziness in our, we keep thinking of all those things that happened. It makes our inspired, makes our things bright and prosperous, our own body. So again, a lot of personal things during the studies, and then it has to also, we also focus on the duty to study and all these things. Not all the seva part was been actually involved or spiritual activity involved on during this. One experience, very, which will be a learning experience for me, was in Kodaikanal. We were in the Sai Shruti, I think it was in it happened 90, 95, 96 or what. A few of us went to Kodaikanal. At that time, no restriction. You can bring anything you want inside wherever it is. No restriction on cameras, keychain, whatever it is, your bags. In fact, we went there, we stayed in a hotel, and then we just took. We were eager to get, we were fortunate to have the seating inside the Shruti Hall because it's very close and the very few after the bhajan singers,
Yeah.
a few rows after the bhajan singers. My friend had a beautiful camera with him, newly bought camera. It was a new camera. Since it was there, we didn't because a few of us, 5, 6 of us, all sat one by one because we want to take Pada Namaskar. You know, right? You know the sequence of sitting there. You don't want to sit horizontal, all took vertical, so that when Swami comes in, everybody can have this. This is what it is. But myself and friend was side by side, and a few of us was there. And Swami came. It was a beautiful darshan for more than 1.5 hours. Swami never moved out of the Sai Shruti Hall, walking here and the bhajans were going on. He never even moved out of this hall. Eventually, every one of us were there, and literally he was standing near us for close to 15-20 minutes. He was standing there. But our focus was not on that living present, right? What we did, we take pictures of Swami's different angles. No one would have seen that. Swami's feet, Swami's nails, Swami's fingers, Swami's hair. Everything we took as a picture. I'm all in photographs. We want to have that pride that I had this opportunity. I am taking this. So that only took into mind so often. The present one, they enjoy the bliss, enjoy the thing. It was all never even thought of us.
Yeah.
Never even came to us at that time. But we took, when about to leave, we took Pada Namaskar. That only we realized that, oh, we missed it. The moment we took Pada Namaskar, right, Swami left the area. So once we came in, all these things, we came back, went in the picture, took the rolls, developed it. Absolutely nothing was inside. Absolutely nothing. No photos, nothing was inside. So we were very, it took a long time for us to realize that. I mean, that was those days we just realized that, see, when we there, we didn't believe what is there. When it's not there, now we are looking at it. So living in the present is always enjoy what is happening will happen at this point. It came a long lesson for us. And it's a wonderful lesson for every one of us at those time. We learned a lot from that. Then after that, our seva continues. I used to go to Parthi as a sevadal. Except for the Swami's Mandir, I have done most of this seva in rooms, in Swami's Gopuram gate, Ganesha gate. And in fact, I was also one of the Prashanti. I don't know how many of you have known this. There was a Prashanti secret service. No, I don't know how many of us, some of us know this, right?
Yeah.
So we will be in plain clothes. We will roam around from railway station until the Parthi. No one will be in the noble will know that. But still, we will find something funny things happening that all will be treated separately. I don't want to have that type of things, but there will be, we will find something, we will put it in one of the rooms there. There will be people who will be leading or dealing with those people there. So all these things are, one such thing was in when I was, typically the server, the timing is 6 hours. It's not 8 hours, right? It's odd timing. So either 1 to 7 and 7 to 1. So one time was it at night I given to 7 to 1 a.m. 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. I was asked to do rounds at a university building there. You know, university building is a top, and you need to walk from the west east to all the way to that. It was too dark, and I was given one torchlight, one lati, a stick. So we were just walking it. You can see funny sound there. You really will be struggling to do that. I saw some of the people sitting under the tree and then joking there. When we asked them, they just to argue all those things, right? Even a lot of people there. So this kind of experience, we learned a little bit how to deal with people in terms of difficult circumstances. Even though Swami was there, it was Swami's institution. All are devotees, but still, mindset of the people always differs. So the journey always continues all the way. It guided me along a lot of things, and in fact, I came back in Singapore in 1999. The first thing I got was before I came back, I got one picture of Swami. It says it was I don't know, one of my family devotee. He gave me the picture the 2-3 days before I left India. That picture of Sri Sathya Society, it was the word was given, the daily calendar sheet. It was written always ABC. avoid bad company. You just can say always be careful, but I always told that avoid always bad company, ABC of life.
True.
So that came back. I started here slowly into the Sai fold. I went to Mandapam doing bhajans in 1999, 2000. So they started there. I got married in 2000. Almost on that day, on the eve of the marriage, on early morning of the marriage, it was in the Namakkal. I mean, one of the famous for Anjaneya, Lord Anjaneya, where devotees of Anjaneya there. On the eve of the wedding, I think it's around 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I had a dream. Swami brought myself and my friend into the sanctum of one of the deities, and he manifested Mangal Sutra and gave it to me. Is all yours. I'll be with you. Don't care. So until the day before, I never met my wife. Only few times I just spoke to her. Never met my wife. I mean, only few days before I have seen her personally. So this is the blessing. I took it. I gave that. This my parents have given. That's okay. Everything is done. That's the thing. Swami brought again into the fold. Like this. So again, she was not a devotee, but after that she also became a devotee. Along with that, no food. It's natural what we have. Say my mother, she also was not a devotee at those point in when she got married in 1968. Is all the same. It continues again that. After that, 2008, 2009, 2010, we have a divine opportunity to have on the journey with Sai, journey with love, Buddha Purnima, lot of instances we went to Parthi, and every time we go, we had a lot of experiences with Swami. In fact, a lot of performance was done. It all few things which we always cherish these memories. Whether we take Pada Namaskar, but we do what is our duty entrusted on us. Whether we want to see Swami or not, it is a second part of us. One very good example was in 2000, I think it was in World Youth Conference. World Youth Conference was held, and then a lot of in Singapore was represented, and then it was the current building opposite to the shopping complex where the Anil Kumar people used to have a lecture on that. So we had a different stall. Singapore has a very big stall, and then next to us was US, and then Spain. A lot of things were there, but the largest contingent was from Singapore, and second from US. All exhibits was there. I mean, Singapore were interested with the Namasmarana, so we created all those pictures, beautiful places, and all those things. And every day we will have hope that Swami will come one day. I think we were there for more than 1 week was there. Morning we'll open. One few days it was there, and the end of the day, the whole building belonged to Singapore because we used to open it, we used to lock it, and the key was with us. Most likely, everything will be controlled by us. Swami, no choice. We so many of them talked to Swami. Swami didn't come to the place. But before we leave, one day, I think we say at least everyone go for darshan, because few of us will not go for darshan, hoping that in case if Swami comes in, very difficult for us to come and open it. So we always stay there, waiting for him or someone else. At least take turns so that at least is not the exhibits is not closed. It's always open. Is fresh for Swami to visit. So eventually one day, what they said, ask everybody to come there, and that's I think is evening. Have in the very beginning, nearer to Swami's mandir there, Sai Kulwant Hall, and myself, a few of us was in the very first row. Very first row. It was more than 45 minutes. Swami never moved, and we also never moved. Just only nothing. No Veda chanting was there, and then bhajans also not. It was in the 3:30, 4 p.m. Because it was specially organized, but the still devotees all allowed. So we thought Swami will come and then see us, see what we have done this. But in the end, we had a divine blessings of just sitting in front of Swami for more than 45 minutes. Whether he's there, you do your duty, whether you come it or not is one thing. At least we have the opportunity. we had it. We divine blessed. And the next day, everyone wanted to travel out. There was close and people to take the bookings, and few of us stayed back. And suddenly they called all of us, and Swami distributed his robes. I mean, Swami didn't distribute. Swami told everyone to distribute, got his robe. So every one of us got the Swami's robe, whoever has stayed 1 day, 2 days back there. So that was always we have the divine blessings on all those continued activity over that. Of course, my family, my wife, my son also have very, very intense what you call blessings from Swami, I would say. They have real experience of Swami during this period. One thing what is, even this continues, when I was in SSC in MDIS, I think it's the very beginning, 10 to 15 years back, 10 to 12 years back. We used to always have to wear white and white. I used to work night shift during those times. So after night shift, I will come straight to the SSC and then change my clothes and then go back. But one such day, evening, I said I was just wearing white and white to the office because some reasons I'm not so sure for what. So along the way, walking towards MRT, suddenly the rain started to come. The water drizzling. I was saying, Swami, tomorrow I have to be there in white and white. I don't have any spare. What else to do? I don't have any spare clothes because the next day was some function there. Some function was there. Suddenly, you know what happened? I was just waiting for the traffic light. A lot of the rain, the downpour started a bit heavy. Suddenly, one Chinese gentleman, don't know from where he came, he opened his big umbrella. Come on, brother, come share, let us share.
Wow.
Just, I was really cannot take back. Just waiting for someone to help. Suddenly, this help came from out of nowhere, nothing. Imagine it was in 10, 12 to 12 years back. So he just took me along until the MRT and then he just disappeared from that. Because I was rushing for the work to go and he was I realized that. So it is sincere prayers if we have without any ulterior motive will always pay some effect on us. That's the learning from what I had. This is every day we will have this experience. Everyone will have this, but only we were able to make it that success. It all depends on how we take it. Before all those things just make me a better person, but even if not, of course, without mistakes, nothing can be there. Always at some point of time, it made me to realize that Swami is guiding me all the way along. And even my wife, one of the experience before that, I want to conclude. I said one very divine experience in my house. My wife, I think, she got a surgery of a year I think way back in 2000, and then in India. And when he came back, she was sleeping. My son was very young at that time. Somehow he hit his ear and it got the stitches. Something happened, and she got a terrible pain. But few days later, it was okay. And after that, she cannot even walk. When she walked few days, with the giddiness, she will fall down. It was so we do not. I do not know what to do. I said, Swami, I have only. I cannot do anything now. I can look for appointments. It takes a long time for the specialist because everything was done in India. And then I need to get all the records. If not, I need to send her back to check the checkups and all these things. Even if I'm prepared to do that, it was but very condition whether she can able to go back or not. That is also someone has to accompany him because we do not know what happens. That she cannot even walk. So always giddiness. What reason no one knows. I said we have to pray only to Swami. Let us pray. See what best what he can do. He will definitely do something for us. You know, the moment I think the only prayers is Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra, powerful mantra we did for so many times, on the day, morning and evening. I think the next day, Swami came into her dream. He brought her into a far different place. He brought her to some different place and then said, don't worry, you walk, you come, you walk. That's all. Then he came back to my living room and then he magnified himself to 50, 60 times like Vishwarupa Dasaram. I said, nothing. You don't need to worry about anything. Just go and sleep. from brothers and sisters from the next day, nothing for her. Everything until now, she's perfectly all right. No medication, nothing. Once in a while, she has her pain. That is what it is. So it shows the trust and also the true devotion always pays for it, doesn't worry about anything. That is what always, as Professor Anil Kumar we used to have, fortunate have Professor Anil Kumar whenever we come to us by Salman Madi and all those people. We have a divine experience with him. Always say, spirituality is not for your convenience. It is a conviction you should have. That is always in our thought, that whenever we have to do it at the right time. Do it with sincere devotion and all those things. The same way only it happened in the seva continued. The whatever seva we did it, and I did it in India. We slowly started the dormitory seva, which many of us were instrumental in it. I should thank all those people, all Brother Madi, Sister Jayanti, Binduja, Sri Kumar, and all those people. Well, when we started in 2010, it was we don't know whether we can do it or not at those times. It was started in Bukit Batu. And the Sister Shubha used to provide us with a lot of food, as she does now also. Every time in the seva, she gives us plenty of food every time. So these people instrumented on the day, we do not know whether we were able to succeed or not. The first time we did it, somehow we managed it. With due satisfaction, we came back. Swami came into my dream on the day and night, and I was sitting at the Prashanti Nilayam, and Swami straight away looked at me, and then he blessed me. That's all. That's enough. That whatever we do for the society or do for anyone else, the service is without any expectation, do with no an ulterior motive, and whatever we do, this is a self-satisfaction, we get it, and that's always driving me to carry on as much as possible in whatever way. Brothers and sisters, I hope this should be, I can conclude this by saying that, again, I repeatedly say, it is the conviction that everyone should have, and not for our own convenience, that we have to derive it. Sairam.
Thanks. Thanks, brother Satya. I think you have really helped us to reconnect with Bhagwan, as he beautifully connects individually to everyone, gives answers to everyone. And we are so fortunate to have you. I am sure you have shared a part of it. In times to come, we'll get more of it, But this is such a beautiful journey. Just before you go, brother Satya, in 2 minutes, if you can just tell us about this photograph. And just
okay.
2 minutes. So I'll just display what you shared yesterday with me.
Yeah, this is what is Swami's in 24 January 1982. See Swami coming in. Just a few photographs it was taken at those times. Just standing behind Swami's car was T.G. Krishnamurti, Swami's former state president. And this is what at the center is walking in. And this is the stage in the center where Swami is sitting, where we do the Aarti and all this, where I did this.
This is Aarti one that you spoke. Okay, beautiful.
The next one, there should be one more, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what Swami, that is the picture you can see in the first top function. That is the picture we still have, but we have already modified. We have made it a little bit more beautiful. See, this will be the main picture and other two pictures there. And the right hand side is the one that Swami is sitting in the public event at the thing. And the last one below is Swami waiting for me. I mean, this is what the picture was taken in such a way that when I was about to do the Aarti, Swami is waiting for me. So I was in the Aarti. That is the only picture I have.
Baba has been waiting for you.
It's not that. The picture was at the wrong timing. That's what it
Beautiful.
is. Yeah.
And last one is this one that you spoke.
Yeah, this what it is.
Photo, brother. This one.
Yeah. Yes, so everyone was, you see, all the hands were there. This on the Buddha Purnima when we went in there, we were just Swami was with us, and then materialized Vibhuti don't know whom to give. So everyone hand everywhere is there. So he gave to whatever everyone hands we just little bit there. That's what it is. And then you see the next one was that that's the last picture we have it there in Purnima. Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you.
Sairam Satya, one more thing. I mean, since you are talking about pictures, what about your sister? The picture took by your sister?
I don't have that at this time.
No,
I think it's,
okay, never mind. You can tell the story then, the instance, at least. We are talking about photo, Swami photo, probably. I mean, I heard about that.
because my mother and sister, I think they have a lot of experiences with the Swami. In fact, she always say if something he has the intuition that definitely it goes to almost 100% right with the Swami. With the Swami, she will tell everything that. And she also have a terrible experience, same like what my wife has experienced, almost around the same time, of few years after that. She was in a mood that she cannot even speak. She was literally in a different state. She cannot speak. She can speak, but she do not know. She is out of control. I don't know. Suddenly, she was not that type. Suddenly, he went on. She went to college. She went to studies. She was doing a master's degree at that time. So, what happened sometimes that. And one day, my mother, father, nothing to do. They said they always only Swami can do, Swami only prays to Swami, and she also does that. One day, Swami took her the same thing what my wife has experienced. She took her to a divine area in the forest.
In the dream.
In the dream, yes, in the dream. Took her to the forest. It is a long, long miles away. She asked to follow. Swami asked her to follow her. And then she just sprayed a little bit on her. See, I told you to go out, you're not going out. I told you to go out, you're not going. Something like that. She had that tremendous experience. And then she cannot realize what is happening, but she just follow instruction. So many things, but I think the narrative, that I'm getting it in a very short form.
Yeah.
And again, Swami brought her back and then said, nothing will worry, you go back, you go and sleep. Everything is, whatever happened to you is all gone. You will, nothing is going to disturb you. Ever since then, I think few days later, she was completely all right, to the surprise of my mother and father. They only know that this is only with Swami this can be done, and they have a strong belief that everything is that. Even my father, from so many years, he had been always, I think is from maybe for 30-40 years, he was always doing this Omkaram and prayers at morning 5 o'clock. Whatever after that, he will give the first offer. Whatever he eat, he still have this habit. Give it to Swami first. Pray to Swami, then only he will start proceeding with the next activity of those. So my sister, I mean, she has a lot of other things. Or this is one terrible thing that she was. Whole family was devastated during those period, and she was completely cured. Minutes, a few days within that.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yes. It is like Pandora box. Once you start opening, experiences comes out, Swami's love comes out, and we'll surely connect. And like I told you, one day we'll have uncle also. You have to tell him, motivate him to share someday. Yes. So, brothers and sisters, I think that was quite a treat for us for the coming days to absorb and be inspired with. Let's have Brother Shastri to share one of the 108 names Mahatman before we conclude. Brother Shastri.
Sairam, brothers and sisters, I think a lovely account from Brother Satya. It was so wonderful. Today's 108 name is Om Sri Shankaraya Namaha. So all of us know that Swami is truly the form of Lord Shiva. And so many experiences are there. I think Swami had given to devotees at various times. Just last Sunday, I was hearing to Vijayamagaru, who had written the Anyadha Sharanam Nasti. So for that group, very small group of 6 to 8 people, Swami had shown the third eye in the entire sky of Puttaparthi. And then he told them they could not actually, be normal people for a few days after that vision that they had of Swami with the third eye. Swami, of course, we all know that Swami appeared in the Hampi Shivalinga temple also there. That Swami himself got installed there when his parents and the brother were there. So my own personal experience is there in terms of Swami being Shiva form. I was a student, so one of the occasions, my eldest sister had a small health issue. My mother was there with her, and so I took the permission from the warden, and I was right in the front row. And I was very confident that Swami would look at me and he would give me the chance to speak to him and explain to him what is the problem. But Swami never looked actually. Somehow, he took people for the interview. Everything happened. He did not look at me also. But the bhajans have started. So all the more the agony had started increasing. So at the end of the day, the bhajans have started. Swami has gone into the bhajan hall, sat on the throne there. So I started crying. So literally, Swami came down during the middle of the bhajan. He said just a few words actually. He said, "What happened?" I just said, "Sister," nothing else. And then he asked, "Where are they?" Swami, they're here. Then the lady said they would be there. But they went to Hillview Stadium, I believe, at that time. So Swami just told me only one word, that only I will look after. That's all. And he created the Vibhuti gift, and that's all over. And my sister, after 1.5 years, she conceived. And the baby boy was about to be born, in fact. And this was supposed to be operated. My Badima, my mother's eldest sister, was with her. And my sister and my Badima were sitting just near the operation theater. My Badima had a vision that Swami was walking in that hospital, coming towards her in Ardhanarishwar Swarup. And then she was thinking whether she's dreaming or whatever, and then she was trying to, wipe her own eyes, and then wanted to again look. Swami was very clearly visible to her, saying that it is time now, tell the doctors to take her in to the theater. And then Swami, she was about to get up from the chair, and Swami disappears. So Swami, a number of times, had given visions and vision darshans to so many, to prove again and again their own Ishtadevata Swarupas are the forms. Om Sri Sai Ram. Thank you.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Thanks, brother. I think with the name you also shared the experience. So beautiful. We'll conclude today's satsang with Samasta Loka. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलिए भगवान श्री सत्य साईं बाबा जी की जय। Sai Ram again, brothers and sisters. Stay safe, stay spiritually connected to Bhagwan. We'll meet up and catch up again. I may be traveling to India in the last week of October, but from there we will continue with the satsang as scheduled. Only the next one, I might request Brother Shastri and Brother Shri to take over, and then we'll continue with that. Wishing you all the best, a blessed week ahead, and moments of Sai togetherness again. Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.